Good morning, race fans, and welcome to Today at the Races on this beautiful fall day here in Maryland. Keith, Tim Tulloch, joined by Keith Fusel. A big weekend last weekend.
Yeah.
We had Maryland Million. We came back with 10 races on Sunday, 10 good races. How'd you pull up?
Tired. I mean, it's a long weekend, Maryland Million weekend, Preakness weekend. We have a lot going on, but it was great to see the crowd and everything. We kind of now move on, take a deep breath, kind of gather ourselves back up and move into another difficult betting card. The challenges are here each day at Laurel Park. But you know what? The weather. This is the best day we've had all week. We've been dealing with a little bit of mist, some showers on and off. So I'll take it. A little brisk in the air, but it feels good out here. Wake you up, and the sun is shining.
It's October, almost November.
Yep.
This is the way it's supposed to be. Speaking of November, this is our last Thursday of racing. We're going to move to a Friday to Monday schedule starting next week. So after this Sunday, today will be our last Thursday. We come back next Friday, November 1st through the 21st. We're going to be running Friday through Monday. We're going to try the Monday card.
Yeah.
It's something I've always been a big fan of. I thought we should have tried it a while ago.
Yeah, don't get me started on like days of the week and what days. I have my own thoughts and I'll keep them to myself. I just think from a handle standpoint, Monday's should work. Okay, competition and everything the way that it is. If these races stay on the turf, we've got these bigger fields and everything. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the only question I'm going to have is: are we going to get a good gauge on what Mondays could have been? Because look, we're in the twilight of turf season right now. The fields are going to start to get smaller.
Yeah.
Maybe earlier in the fall, we might have done a little bit better. So I don't know if we're going to get a good gauge on what Mondays can produce, but it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Out there today, Keith, we just talked about it's beautiful.
It's worth a go, though, to try
no
the
doubt.
Mondays. Yep,
No doubt.
Track is fast. Turf is good, as we talked about. We just that rain. It was just lingering for days and days around here. Felt a little bit like Seattle, didn't it? It just kind of never left us. Finally, we've got the sun shining. Track is fast. Turf is good. This track and turf course have been playing pretty fair for the most part. So I really haven't written down any strong biases, for the last couple of weeks. We might have one day on the page. So yeah.
Right. Beautiful day, as we mentioned. Let's get going. Race 1 kicks off the early pick 5, as always. Early pick 5, industry low, 12% takeout, 50-cent minimum on the early pick 5. Race 1 is a claiming event. Claiming price $16,000. Non-winners a 2 lifetime, going 5.5 furlongs on the grass for fillies and mares. We'll start with your top pick, Keith. This is the 10 Cerulean for Kerry Raven. Alexander Crispin gets the call. Look, decent spot today if the Canterbury Figs can hold up here.
That's the key. Will that form, and those figs hold up transferring over here? We've seen a couple runners from this barn. Been okay, fairly competitive. I think this will be a little bit of a gauge. You've got a horse that ran very well in that first level allowance race, 2 races back at Canterbury, a close into that. I thought, second place finish, okay. That horse went down to Kentucky, only beaten 5 lengths in an open allowance, in a other than down at Keeneland. So I think that stacks up. I think Cerulean has enough tactical speed. Did not want any parts of that route last time, Tim. I think Cerulean will get that stalk and pounce kind of trip today.
No doubt. Turns back this afternoon on the 10 Cerulean. I have the 6 on top. This is Renaissance for Michael Sidham. Sheldon Russell gets the call. This one's taking a significant drop this afternoon.
Yeah, Renaissance here for Sidham. He's just taken, every advantage I guess he can possibly take. We're getting later here into the turf season. She really maybe hasn't lived up to the billing that they thought. So let's go ahead. We're going to drop, going from 40,000 to in life at Colonial to 16 today. You're thinking it should be a slam dunk. I've got her 8-5 on the morning line. Renaissance is tactically placed. She comes out of a key race. In Vain has come back to run well for the 40 level here. So I think Renaissance should be right up with the pace. Needs to bring a little bit of finish. Has a little cheat in her, it looks like. Maybe this is the level that Renaissance can get over the top.
The 1 is Cast No Stones. Forest Voice gets the call for Allison Fulmer. 2 races back, Keith, this filly ran a nice race when breaking her maiden down there at Colonial Downs.
Yeah, at a big price, 16-1. Has never been bet down under double digits. But the lone sprint on the turf, on the page, is good. That number stacks up against this group. Definitely a reach last time out. Sloppy track, throw that one out. But that sprint is good enough. If she can duplicate that, she's not going to be far away from this field, and she's going to escape at a little bit of a price. You've got a barn that doesn't run a lot of horses. I think this horse will go off close to double-digit odds.
The 4 Looks Don't Lie for Timothy Salzman. This one's dropping and getting back on the grass.
Looks Don't Lie is, could go either way here. To the front, you're looking at the race. There's not a slew of speed that just is go-go. I think this slight little drop is good enough. She's got races on her page over this turf course that make her a factor in here. I think she's going to stay within range by the time they hit the top of the stretch. She'll hang around, I think, for a piece against this group.
10-6 for Keith in race 1, 6-4 for myself. Race 2 does kick off the early pick 4. Race 2 is of 4 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races, claiming price $10,000, going 1 mile on the main track. Keith, you did a pick 4 ticket for us. How'd you play it?
Early pick 4 ticket. Lots of numbers in race 2 because I don't trust St. Marco. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Lots of ways to go. Maybe you should have just hit the all button. Race 3, we have a single. Safine. Field was okay at Kentucky Downs. Not the greatest, but boy, visually impressive effort here. Real gutsy try. We'll go ahead and single this runner from the Eddie Keneally barn. They do not run much here in Maryland. Race 4 with the 5 and the 6, Devilish Affair, should be well bet off of that last effort behind a pretty strong run of Green Eyes from Kieran. 7-5, might even be a little bit lower off of that fig. I'll throw in Magic Girl as a user in there. Looks to be getting back to the right spot, sprinting. Race 5, 1, 3, and 4. Center stage, Murph, they look like the 2. Chalichna is in very good form. That was an impressive effort. We have a video of that one. There's your ticket, $18 for the early pick 4.
The 4 is your top pick in race 2. This is I'm Not Slow for Claudio Gonzalez. Mr. Rodriguez gets the call. This one's been hanging around this level all summer long, but has some figures earlier that could work here.
I'm Not Slow is the type I think going back out to the mile is going to work. I like it. We've got the bug. Outside post last time was hung wide on a speed-favoring racetrack. I'm still holding out hope that I'm Not Slow can sit a trip from just off of it. I think there's definitely more speed to the outside on Bet on Bits. Centilio, definitely quicker early. This one, if it drops in, if that track is playing fair, should be able to save plenty of ground, Tim, and make a run into it at an okay price.
And that's what I'm counting on. My price play of the day is the 8 Centilio. Coming out of a race where we had a little bit of trouble, but this is a first time going long for Jerry Robb and speed from the outside.
Yeah, I guess you're familiar with that family, right?
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'm familiar with that family.
Okay, and that's the key. I think it's going to be all systems go. You see the short comment on Centilio last time. Inside, rated back and had to check. Was taken out of his element. He wants to go and run free on the front end. I think he's going to go ahead and get that opportunity against this field. It looks like the 7 Bet on Blitz. When taking a look at this runner for Dale Capuano, also stretching out to the mile, was out of that same race on October the 6th. I thought held quite well. Made a move, just a little bit of a flattening. I checked the breeding out on the 7. I think the route is within the realm of possibilities for this Dale Cap runner.
Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit more about the 7 for Dale Capuano. First time stretching out, 23%. Dale is lifetime best to back up there at Pimlico sprinting, but Dale does well when he stretches them out. Race 3 is a maiden special weight on the grass, going 1 mile and a 16th for maiden 2-year-old fillies. And we're going to start with a video spotlight here. Keith, let's start with our top pick. This is the 2, Safine, and your best bet of the day.
This was a pretty good effort. Ducking in at the break in debut at Kentucky Downs, off a beat slow, and then really rushed up into contention into the field. Solid field size of 9, got position. What I liked him is Safine made a couple different moves in this race and never gave up. Looked to move outside around the turn to find a little bit of room, drop back inside, gets it, challenges head and head for the lead basically through the final 3/16 of a mile in that longer stretch, a little bit of an uphill run right at Kentucky Downs, and really doesn't give an inch. Just gets beat. Stayed on that left lead, it appeared to me. You kind of get covered up a little bit here late. But boy, what a gutsy effort. That winner was the 5-2 fave at Colonial prior and ran a 51 buyer. So that's trying to gauge the fig. I've seen some of these buyer figures come out of Kentucky Downs. They seem a little high. things will level off down the road when we kind of compare notes. But Safin, just off the visual there, was good enough. Should put her in a position to win today.
Yeah, that was certainly a game effort. First time out gets Virgo Lynch this afternoon. The 6 is Ride the Rapids for Dale Capuano. This is her second career lifetime start. First on the turf for Dale.
Yeah, not a terrible effort. Didn't take a lot of play in a 10-horse field, closer to 8-1. A little drop back, come again move for Ride the Rapids. Long River, we don't really have much of a gauge on the runners here. I think one runner maybe have tried the turf. Looking at the breeding is a half to Jerry's Turn and Chauffeur. Those two runners, success on the turf. They like the turf, but more so sprinting. One-run sprinters, and even Jerry's Turn, a little bit more speed. We'll see if Ride the Rapids can stretch out against this group.
The 5 is Zippadoo for Graham Motion, a first-time starter for Graham Motion. Out of a graded stakes winning mare. It's been working well up there, Fair Hill.
Graham Motion with the 2-year-old fillies, first-time starters going long on the turf. Okay, 2 for 15, 5 for 15 in the money the last couple years. So that's not awful. Smerrick, solid, grade 2 winner. Half to Saranac is Zippadoo. Saranac we've seen run around here, Tim. Run bigger numbers. Ran third in a 2 other than recently in Maryland with an 83 buyer. You're looking at the rest of the field. Nobody's shown any glaring talent. A lot of question marks. So Motion, a firster. You've got Ruiz, good combination. Could be dangerous first time out.
Yeah, they're 20% Ruiz and Graham Motion. Race 3, a nice maiden special weight race on the turf. We'll move to race 4. Race 4 kicks off the Rainbow Pick 6. We do have a carryover in the Rainbow Pick 6. Race 4 is for fillies, mares 3 and up, which have not won a race in 6 months, going 3/4 a mile. Carryover, $11,854. I put together a ticket for the Rainbow Pick 6, and this is how I played it. I go 4-5 here in race number 4. In race 5, I go 4 deep, 1, 4, 7, and 9. Race 6, there's my single. My single comes on the 5. That is Sensen for Mario Saray. 4 deep in race 7, 3, 5, 6, 8. 3 deep, race 8, 3, 6, 7. And race 9, 3, 5, 8. $57.60 ticket on the Rainbow Pick 6. Race 4, let's start with our top pick here, Keith. This is the 5, Devilish Affair. We're going to take a look at his race from October 9th, where he didn't get off the best.
No, he was squeezed back a little bit, a step slow, and then from both sides, gets it. Has to steady. We're going to see this one more time. Yeah, just a little pinch. I mean, definitely gave up a length or two at the beginning. Now, Devilish Affair is going to be able to make a little bit of a run, a good progression towards the inside, leaving the 3/8 pole, worked her way outward. Green Eyes was just loaded. You see the 2-horse here this particular afternoon for Kieran, just sat there under a hammerlock and decides to go ahead now. Let's go get the lead. Gets clear, but Green Eyes, just determined chase all the way to the wire, Tim. Cut that lead into just 3/4 when it was all said and done. So I thought Green Eyes was big. Devilish Affair, really big in this effort despite that trouble. Maybe she was best giving up that ground at the beginning. She drops into condition company today. This is an attack mode. Good number last time. We'll see if there's any takers, but Devilish Affair certainly looks positioned to get the win. I went back and looked. Norman Cash runners been fine as the favorites, as heavy favorites. They've hit it a pretty good clip. So we'll see if we can trust Devilish Affair today.
She's going to need to get away this afternoon, but you're right. She takes a little bit of a drop this afternoon. The 6 is Magic Girl for Monica McGooey. This one comes in running some decent efforts at Colonial Gulfstream in Tampa while sprinting and turning back today.
Magic Girl, you said it. I think the key for Magic Girl is getting back maybe to a fast track and getting back to a sprint. Just so last time with that little move into a condition race at Delaware. But you go back on the page, she keys up against some pretty good runners. You see R. Avery Lynn, Dilly Philly, only beating a couple lengths. We're familiar with those runners here in Maryland. They've been competitive from that 5 to 8 range, even starter range. So Magic Girl getting back to the right conditions today, sprinting on that main track.
The 4 is Fortes for Mario Saray. Grant Whitaker gets the call. This one's dropping the lowest level of her career.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of a reach. last time, wouldn't you think?
Oh, yeah.
Getting reunited now with the rider makes that run from off the pace kind of a sit chilly, right inside move, as you see with Granilot, and then works that outside trip to get home.
Race 4 does kick off the Rainbow Pick 6. We'll be back in a few moments. We need to take a little bit of a break, and we'll talk about the late pick 5. Welcome back to today at the races. Race 5 kicks off the late pick 5. This one's going a mile on the turf. It's for fillies, mares, 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. And Keith, we've got a theme in this race. There's no doubt about it. Let's start with your top pick. That's the 3. This is your price play of the day. Chechnya for Milan Milosevic. We're going to check out her race from September 17th.
Yeah, and showed a little bit of ability, going back to November of 2021. A little bit late run at 105-1 that day. Only 10-1 at Pimlico on the 17th of September in the return try. Wasn't seen for months, but man, loaded up, rated to the inside, and once this horse got outside about 5 wide, we're going to pick it up here. Boy, she charges to the wire. I called this chart, and she was visually impressive. Just under a steady hand ride. Look at this finish. Just rolls right by Melapanini B, and just to see you later. She's sharp. Can she carry that sharpness right back? We shall see. And
we have a little stat on Milan Milosevic, and how does this one go?
It's pretty good. Milan, last 90 days on the turf, 5 for 22, 23%, 9 for 22 in the money. With those turf runners, $4.90 is your ROI.
We'll go to my top pick next, and that is the one center stage. And there's a theme in this race. It's that time of year where people are looking to win on the turf, and maybe possibly win and to sell. Center stage is dropping from A out of than to this 2 lifetime 25 condition today. The results have been so-so. Figures have been pretty good.
Figures have been pretty good, and I thought she was going to be okay sprinting. Maybe that was the key, but unfortunately, you see the short comment. Checked early, threw her off her game, and never really picked up her feet through the stretch. So finding her way down to the 25, and maybe this is the right spot. She ran an awfully big try. The last time she ran at Laurel in this turf course, she was bottled up, just dead to rights, was able to swing out and really finished up well in that race on June the 5th. But, man, she took play. She just hasn't lived up again to what I think we thought she was going to be. So will center stage be able to kind of make amends now, stretching back out and get a win here for the 25?
A nice draw down toward the inside. The 4 is a Murph for Brittany Russell and Sheldon Russell. This one's, again, dropping in class. A blinker's going on, coming off a little bit of vacation, and getting back on the grass.
Yeah, only a couple lengths behind Pizza Bianca, Belbalisa, keying up against the right kind. The blinkers go on, fresh. This layoff works, high percentage barn. This is a high percentage move for this barn. It's a profitable one as well. It doesn't look to me, Tim, like anybody can go with Murph early. If Sheldon wants to be, intent on getting the lead, he should be able to get it. He should be able to rate and hold a long, long way against this particular group. I'm looking, though, for a horse that's in form. Center stage, Murph, question marks abound. Chalichna, boy, she might be really time to make that move up in the ranks. I think Chalichna brings a run to play as a big price play here in race number 5.
Race 5 does kick off the late pick 5. Race 6 kicks off the late pick 4. This one is going 3/4 of a mile for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 3 races. And Keith, both you and I agree on Sensen. This is my single on my Rainbow Pick 6. She's the only 3-time winner in the race. She is a 3-year-old, so she's still eligible for this race. She's won 2 in a row.
Yeah, she can handle, Sensen can handle any surface, right? Wet surface, fast surface, doesn't matter. And what we know with her is she doesn't mind a little bit of a tussle up on the front end. She can kind of put herself into the race. If somebody wants to go ahead and challenge her, she'll dig in and she'll fight you tooth and nail to the wire. I think she's got the perfect kind of field to get a victory against today to make it her 4th. Joe, Mike, Jim, the 3 will take plenty of play.
Certainly will. And Sensen, boy, she does have a lot of fight in her. She's 8 for 9 in the money on a fast name track. Let's talk about the 4, Salamina. Make the rider Nick Juarez. This one's getting back to a fast track where she's been okay when running against these types.
Salamina disappointed last time. I like Salamina on that sloppy sealed surface against Sensen. She really could not make any headway. Off a little sluggish, chased to no avail. No real impact. Getting back to a fast track will be the key for Salamina today. Again, I think she has the type of speed to put her in position. I don't think she's as fast as Sensen early, but I do think she can save ground, get some cover around the turn, and bring a finish against this group.
The 3 is Joe Mike Jim for Claudio Gonzalez. Dennis Rujo gets the call. This one's been off her form over the last 4 starts. There's no doubt about that. But she gets relief this afternoon, and the races are there.
Certainly frustrations right now in the Claudio barn. The percentage is not there. This barn has not heated up. We thought last week maybe they were poised to kind of get things going. It hasn't just yet. Joe Mike Jim takes the drop in half. The problem with Joe Mike Jim, sure, her figures certainly work against this group, but you see the tendencies. Slow start, in tight start, stumbled start, bump start. I chased a horse like that the other day in Matitude. It got me in trouble, right? Was willing after another bad start. Joe Mike Jim needs to break clean. If Joe Mike Jim does break clean, she's a pace factor a long way in here.
Race 6 kicks off the late pick 4. Race 7 is a maiden special weight, going a mile and 16th on the grass for maiden fillies and mares 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, and we'll start with the 2. This is Demanda for Guadalupe Preciado. Sheldon Russell gets the call, stretching off of troubled debut.
Race 7 is a highly competitive field. I've got wide open marked at the top of the page. I did this race doing the lines. A lot of horses really close to me. So I said, I'm going to go out of the box in race number 7. Let's take a look at number 2, Demanda. All right. Took a little bit of play, close to 12-1 in a bigger field at Pimlico, going short. Off step slow, checked at the 3/8. Still was finished with some willingness, closed up some ground through the final 1/8 of a mile. I think right now, maybe I'd like to see one more sprint, but stretching out should work. This horse is from the family. Sweet By and By. You've got By Land and Sea, a couple other runners. Just a slew of turf route wins. And most of those horses did it up close to the lead. I think off of this sprint, you'll see Demanda put into the race fairly early, hopefully get a front position and finish today at a price.
Well, you would think from that inside draw, Breeding suggests the distance shouldn't be a problem. Whether she has enough underneath her yet, we'll find out. But she did come back with 2 works since that last race, 2 good, useful works for Mr. Preciado. I have the 5, Cooldy on top for Arnaud Delacour. Hector Diaz gets the call. How about these 2 guys? 27% Diaz and Delacour. This one has been pretty good for Arnaud. 3 consecutive second-place finishes. You don't always love to see that, but the figures are strong.
The bridesmaid tendency, right? It's right there. Certainly works. Figures strong. Will take plenty of play. Again, looks like she might have a touch of hang. She's been in position to win. She just hasn't gotten over the top. Will she finish today 5-2 on the morning line for Cooldy?
The 9 is Glowing Review. This is a first-time starter for Justin Nixon that you have in the mix.
Yeah, I think this one I would wish for a little bit better post position in debut all the way outside, going 2 turns, but the family is certainly there. Full to sparkling review, 4 for 4 on the turf, multiple graded stakes winner. We know Justin Nixon, Caramanos, high percentage when they team up. Good ROI, strong ROI, and he's been capable with the first-time starter we've seen with Justin Nixon. This is a little different twist, though, going long. Most of those efforts, the good efforts for those horses have been sprinting. So let's see, a lot to overcome, though, with this outer post against a quality group in race 7.
This is a nice race here in race 7, mile and 16th, maidens on the grass. Race 8 is our feature race of the day. This is a first-level allowance race for 2-year-olds, which have never won a race A other than going 7/8 of a mile. We'll start with the 6th. Keith, both you and I have this one on top. This is post time for Brittany Russell. Eric Camacho gets the call. Let's go back and look at his debut run on October 7th.
This was a good one, Tim.
It was a good one.
Yeah, this was pretty impressive. Went off at 5-1. There's Landon Jack again. We're going to see Landon Jack back, I think, tomorrow. He's going to be running soon. But look at this run into the lone speed. Erica Macho with the return, circling up 5 wide, a little loop and swoop move, and things get a little dicey here. Just kind of wants to kind of swerve around through the final eighth of a mile, but just gobbling up ground, Tim. This is pretty good. Swaps over to left lead. Let's hope he can keep a straighter course today. And he goes on just under minimal urging through the final 70 yards.
I thought that was visually a really impressive race. I know he was all over the place, but when a young horse does something like that, I think it's good. I talked to Eric Camacho after the race. He gets on him every morning.
Okay.
He's a little bit funny to ride,
Okay.
so he's riding him in the afternoon, and so far, so good. Sharp work for post time since that last race. The 7 is Valenzen Day for Rudy Rodriguez. Look, you take out the 2 stakes at Saratoga, and this is a colt who's never run a bad race.
Valenzen, a 2-time winner, and pretty much had everything his own way. Was able to kind of sit just outside the pace last time out. Asserted himself and kicked away. He worked for it a little bit. It wasn't, an easy performance. The number came back really big, 78. If he comes back to a 78, I guess he should win. Rudy Rod's been good with 2-year-olds, Yearn and Yacht, bringing them down into Maryland. This horse is going to be competitive. He's, let's see, and if this favorite, okay, last 5 years on the dirt, sprinting at Laurel, Rudy Rod, 8 for 16. 15 of 16 in the money. This horse should be around it a long way, but Valenzen Day, will he kind of have to work a little bit harder? No, a chance from the inside will bring some speed. See if he can separate 7/8 of a mile, also stretching out that extra furlong this afternoon.
Javion Toledo on the 7 Valenzen Day for Rudy Rodriguez. Let's talk about the 3. Roan Burgundy for Brittany Russell, another one of Brittany Russell's runners, turning back in distance. Sloppy track, going a mile in that stake, didn't work. Debut race was pretty nice.
Yeah, that did not work last time out in the slop. Didn't really want any parts. Congruent went on with it and drew away. It really took to that surface. But blinkers go on and also beat Landon Jack. He's up against Landon Jack, was able to stalk and move clear. I think he'll revert back closer to that debut effort when turning back in distance and getting back to a fast track.
Race 8, our feature. Nice first level allowance on the main track for 2-year-olds. Race 9 is our nightcap, and this one's going 5.5 furlongs on the grass for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 3 races, claiming price 16,000. Let's start with your top pick, Keith. This is a 2 Italian dressing. Make the rider Laura Lee Glazier. Laura Lee Glazier rides a 2 Italian dressing. This one's dropping and getting turf for the first time for Amy Smith.
Yeah, heavy on Toledo, going to opt and go for the horse that drew in, right?
The 13.
Yeah, the 13 for Moon of Love. Moon of Love for Michael Stidham. So I'm going to stick with. This was kind of an off-the-wall kind of a pick, I guess. Only 5-1 on the morning line. They tried to get this one back on the turf last year. Didn't happen. But I see a lot of speed in here. I see a horse that's My Great Notion. That's a half to Flimsy. Flimsy ran okay in a state-bred allowance race. That was going a little bit longer, a 68 buyer last week. Italian dressing, why not? Laura Lee's going to get this horse in position and try to get it to roll home. She's been live on all of her mounts.
Yeah, the horses love Laura Lee. There's no doubt about that. Let's talk about the 3 Sassy Babe and take a look at her race from August 14th of this past year. This was going 5.5 furlongs right here on the turf at Laurel Park.
Yeah, I think Sassy Babe, Charlie Marquez back to Laurel, where we've seen some good efforts from this sprinter. He gets along with her. He can get her in a position to sit from just off of it and make that timely move, maybe turning for home against this group. I don't think she wants to be involved in a duel with a couple horses to her outside. This one's dangerous here, and I think you're going to get an okay price because of the connections. No knockouts. They can get horses to win. Sassy Babe, I think, will be well placed.
That was a big race on August 14th, running a number that's certainly competitive with this group. The 5 is Likely Choice for Mikey Gorham. Sheldon Russell gets the call. This one gets back to Laurel, where she's been okay. You look at some races from last fall. She was consistently on the board, going 5.5 on Laurel's turf.
Yeah, Likely Choice. Her best races have been over this turf course. I'd like to see a little bit more finish in her last couple, but now third off of a little bit of a break. That should help her chances. I think Sheldon, again, will have her in position. She maybe doesn't have quite the speed of Sassy Babe, but she might have a little bit more punch coming back to Laurel. We shall see.
Race 9, a very competitive 3 lifetime for fillies mares, going 5.5 on the turf. That's going to do it for Keith and myself today. Stand by for changes with Dave Rodman.